Go ahead and close your eyes if you're able to. Smoothing out your forehead. Relaxing the corners of your eyes and your mouth. Unclench your jaw. And relax your shoulders away from your ears. Together we're going to take a deep breath in, inhaling through the nose. And exhale, letting go out the mouth. Another deep breath in through the nose, filling up your diaphragm and your lungs. Holding at the top. And exhale out the mouth, truly letting go. When you're ready, gently going ahead and opening up your eyes if you closed them. Welcome to Mindful Moves with me, Daniela Jentsch, your host. Welcome back to another episode, something that has been actually my word of the year. Every single year I choose a word that best represents the type of person I want to be in the year. So it's not necessarily something that I've achieved already. It's usually something that I'm aiming for. And this year, my word of 2025 is consistency. It is something that I live and breathe by, but I think like any human in this world, sometimes you just need a bit of deeper focus into it and wanting to just really let it infiltrate into all parts of your life. And I think that that's the key factor here, is that I feel like consistency has been a theme throughout my last years. However, I realized how it actually trickles down into every single part of your life, not just one part, for example, fitness or business or your job. It trickles into everything, and consistency is something that I think a lot of us sometimes underestimate. I think a lot of us think it takes willpower, it takes talent, it takes being special to do something in this world. But as you get older, and from my experience, we so often put people achieving things, whatever it is in their life, on a pedestal. Look at them and think there is no possible way I could be doing what they are doing. And if they are doing it, the only way they got there is they are extremely talented. Or XYZ. It could be, you could think that they have a lot of money and that's why they got there. You could think that they got a lucky break and the world isn't against them like it is with you. And while all of these things will make you feel somewhat better about yourself, that you are not where you want to be, I unfortunately have to report that it's not the case. One common theme, one thing that sets you apart from literally 99% of the rest of the world is consistency. It's consistent action and not giving up. No matter the results, no matter the outcome, you just keep going. And someone who speaks about this beautifully is the Mindset Mentor. And he was the first podcast that I actually ever listened to and continue to listen to, because he does some beautiful work. And his story is super inspirational to me. So I'd love to share his story because I think it's super relevant and it inspired me to be sitting here today. He is someone who, now I can't remember the exact date, but his story goes as follows. He started recording this podcast. He was pushing them out. He was very passionate about what he did. He loved teaching, and he still does, and he wanted to get out there in the world. He managed to get, which is super impressive, he managed to get to around about 100,000 followers or streams per month. I think it was streams per month, roughly translated story. But point being is that he plateaued. He plateaued for about 4 years. He stayed in that position. Now, if you are building something in life like he was, it can feel very disheartening to continue when there's no real progress on the outside, right? But he knew that you just need to be consistent. And the metaphor or the concept that he used, which I use in my day-to-day life, is the art of bamboo. Bamboo is a beautiful thing that grows, but the bamboo shoots only shoot up after about 5 years. They grow tremendously. In the beginning, it really doesn't look like much is happening. And then after that 5-year mark, it just shoots up. And this is the concept that he uses, because then he stayed consistent. He kept posting, he kept going, he kept recording, he kept putting everything into this. And eventually, he's one of the best performing podcasters in the world, in the whole world, with millions of followers and millions of streams. And I love his story because so often we can get wrapped up in numbers. Now, while his numbers are super impressive, the main lesson I take from it is not how successful he's become, but the type of character he built during this time when there were no external results. That takes, number one, a huge amount of dedication and discipline. He, I am sure, did not wake up every day after plateauing for so long and think, wow, I am so excited to do this. He sometimes probably had days, which he shared before, where it feels hard and it feels tough and you can feel a bit disheartened. But that emotion, those emotions that come up when things aren't really going your way in whatever it is you're trying to achieve, he never let those emotions dictate his actions. One of my favorite things that I've said to myself consistently for years is, I will no longer let my mood dictate my actions. And this has revolutionized my whole life, especially this year. I know we're still in the beginning, but I just decided that, and it links very deeply to the episode I did on confidence, right? You build your confidence through building your character, and the way you do that is by consistently showing up for yourself. You cannot expect to not show up for yourself and feel good about yourself simultaneously. You need proof. Your brain is constantly observing for data, and it wants to know and see that you are worthy, and how you teach yourself that you're worthy is by showing up for yourself. And so with consistency, it is super important, number one, to remember it is really not about the external progress. It is not. That's the cherry on top. So often we track and we chase our goals with the expectation or the hope to reach a certain level. I'm here to tell you from a very deep personal experiences that you will not feel any different, I promise you, when you get to a goal. You will feel a little bit elated, you will have this like happiness feeling, but then it's human nature. You start looking for the next thing. Now, if that is the case, what is the whole point? We've missed the whole plot. The fun part, the most amazing part that we should be so excited about is the actual journey toward the goal. That's the fun part. That's the part that should get you absolutely fired up, because during a journey like that, you are growing the most, your character is developing the most. And I truly believe that one of the key reasons on earth to be a human and to be alive is to develop your character into somebody that you're proud of, somebody that you love. And it's not to say that you can only love yourself once you've become a certain person. That starts at the very beginning, in whatever way you can. But I like to show up for myself through action. It's very similar to having a relationship with someone. We all know those relationships where it's always said through words, I love you very much, I care about you, or I will show up for you. Those words can sound really nice, but unless there are actions attached to these words, they mean nothing. And so why in a relationship do we constantly try, if you're in a healthy relationship, let's say, why do we try and show up for that other person every single day through action? But when it comes to ourselves, we are so easy to drop the ball. And on top of that, when we do drop the ball with ourselves, we are mean to ourselves. We guilt trip ourselves and we give up. Where in actual fact, it takes work, it takes learning, it takes lessons. So I thought I'd just share my top tips that I've learned so far with consistency and how I stay kind of rooted and grounded through the process, because no process is perfect, right? So for me, consistency, I wanted it to feed into all aspects of my life. And a big one, let's talk about it, is health. right? And I think a lot of us can resonate. A lot of us have certain health goals. Maybe you want to eat a certain way. Maybe you want to cut out processed foods. Maybe you want to walk more, or you want to go to the gym, whatever it is. Mine was honestly, I'm just going to use one example because there's a few, but one of them was I really wanted to walk 10,000 steps a day. The reason being, I have a job where I'm sitting at my desk, and I truly believe it's not human nature to sit for so long. And so I said to myself, okay, great, this is my goal. I'll go for a walk in the morning, I'll go for a walk in the evening. Perfect way to start the day and end the day. I live close to the sea. Honestly, it is the most beautiful thing in the world, and I don't know how I was actually living before that. So not only was it for the steps for my body, but mental health, you can read up on it, is boosted to astronomical amounts when you are doing walks. Walks are great. And this is actually just exercise in general, right? The endorphins. So whatever you choose, you don't have to do 10,000 steps, but this was my goal. And how I remained consistent was a few tips. Number one, I never ever let my mood decide if I was going on a walk or not. How many of us have ended a work day and been so exhausted, and all you want to do is go sit on the couch and watch your favorite series and eat something delicious? I got to the point where I said, this is a priority. It's really top priority for me, and it's a non-negotiable in my day. Now, that being said, I helped myself in a lot of ways too. So the night before, I find prepping before the next day is probably the best thing ever. It takes the mental load off the morning, and the less decisions you have to make before achieving something, the less likely you are to deviate from the plan, right? So I would put out, for example, my shoes by the door. I'd have my walking clothes ready. And so when I got up in the mornings, I roll out of bed, I brush my teeth, I put on the walking clothes, I go out the door. And this helped me so much is I did it as if I was doing it for someone that I love, right? Like if someone had asked me, if my close friend or a partner or someone or family member had asked me, I really need help. I really want to walk 10,000 steps a day, but I'm really struggling to be consistent. Can you help me? Can you do X, Y, Z? I would do that for them. So I decided to give myself that same gift. And I prepped in the evening. I looked after myself so that future me could reap the benefits. Now, that being said, none of us are perfect. I do my best to stick to that, and it really does work 99% of the time. However, there's always going to be a day or two where you are just feeling not okay. And I'm also a firm believer in listening to your body, especially when it comes to activity and to moving your body. So there were days where I wouldn't go on a walk, or I wouldn't go on the morning walk or the evening walk. And the key, or what worked really well for me to remain consistent after that, is the 2-day rule. So I wouldn't let myself do that for more than 2 days, right? I would let myself skip it or shift it a little bit, but that was the rule that worked for me. Now you are going to have to explore what works for you, but you need to have some sort of idea or formation around how you are going to stick to your word and how you're going to stick to the actions, right? So those two things have helped me so much. The third thing that I would love to recommend, and I do this with a lot of people, is being accountable with an accountability partner. We humans thrive so much in showing up for the people around us. Most people do, right? And so when you have a promise, or you have someone else that you are doing something with, like maybe you have a walking buddy, maybe your buddy doesn't want to walk with you twice a day. That's okay. Maybe you have a friend that you can text and say, hey, I did my 10,000 steps today. If you don't want that, if you don't have a partner, if you don't have someone in your life that you can kind of bounce this off with or get support from, be your own accountability partner. Sit down, draw up a plan, and buy some gold stars. And every time you go on that walk, put a gold star on this thing where you can visually see it. You just need to realize that every excuse that you come up with, I don't have an accountability partner, I don't have the time, all of those are just what I said, excuses. They're not going to get you to anything in life. And again, it's a matter of priorities. So for me, that was a priority. I wanted to be outside. A huge part is being in nature. I don't want to look at a screen all day. I want to be outside. I want to be experiencing the world. It helps so much with perspective. And so I've now achieved that. I am consistently walking 10,000 steps every day, and the averages always balance out in the week, even if I skip a day. And these small little changes, this is the best part about this whole message. Eventually, your brain has built a habit. And as you all know, I know people like to say that habits are formed in 21 days. I personally believe it's 3 months. That's for me, from the research I've done and from the practice that I've instilled in my life. 3 months is when you have developed a habit so securely that you don't have to think about it anymore. I now get up, where are we now? Nearly at the end of Feb. I started walking, I would say, these 10,000 steps. I was always doing 1 walk a day, but I wanted to double it. So let's say around mid-December or beginning of Jan. So it's only been nearly 2 months. But I already feel so comfortable in the fact that I wake up, I brush my teeth, I put on my clothes, I go for a walk. It doesn't matter if it's the weekend. It doesn't matter if my walking buddy isn't going with me. It doesn't matter at all. Nothing matters. I just know that I'm going to do that. Same for the evening walk. Now, the evening walk was obviously the harder thing to implement, let's say, because I was so accustomed to my old habit of finishing work and then relaxing, right? So that one, I do the same now. And it has taken, yes, a month and a half to get, let's say, used to. But now I can't imagine my life without it. So you can imagine at the 3-month mark how it's going to be just part of my life. So now I've instilled a new baseline into my life. This is a concept I love. The baselines in life. You are so used to your normal every day that the goals you want and the things you want to achieve seem so far out and so far-fetched. But if you're able to take one little thing at a time and implement it into your life, for example, walking 10,000 steps a day, eventually that becomes your new normal. And then you can go from there. Maybe you want to start Pilates, whatever it may be. I'm just talking about, let's say, movement-wise. But this can apply to anything in life. If you are in a relationship and you're seeking more emotional intimacy, it can feel difficult in the beginning, but there are so many ways. An example, you could buy a card game. We have access to so many resources now. That lovely game called Are We Really Strangers? You could pick one card a day. The listeners, if you guys don't know what this is, it's a beautiful game. I urge you guys to check it out. You can pick one of the cards and it has a question on there. There's different questions. Some of them are like, surface level, all chilled. And then the other ones are a little bit deeper, deep questions. But through this, you're able to get to know each other and you're able to build emotional intimacy and share, right? Because you can only build intimacy through vulnerability. And so a great idea is picking one of these cards once a week. And guess what? If you did that with, let's say it's your significant other, or you want to rebuild a relationship with a parent, whatever it may be, you will eventually get so used to it that after 3 months, you might even just ask each other questions. You won't even need the card game. And this is what I'm trying to get at, is that it doesn't matter what sphere in your life you are trying to achieve something in. When I say achieve, I don't mean an outward achievement necessarily, more an internal one. Whatever it is you would like to place your focus on and bring consistency into, you just need to know that it will become your normal. But all you need to do is repetition and consistency. The sooner you learn how your brain works, and you will hear this in most of my episodes, your brain works off repetition. The very best gift you can give to yourself is building habits that align with what it is you want in this world and the type of character you'd like to have. And then you just keep showing up day after day, through stormy days, difficult days, through days where you don't feel like it, through days where you feel like a failure, and especially on those days, especially if you can, you push on those days. Because if you show up for yourself on days that are hard, not the easy ones, you start building a deep sense of character, someone who always shows up regardless of the outcome. And so accept the fact. I think that the resistance comes from thinking that you might fail. Maybe where you want to build consistency is spending 2 hours or 15 minutes a day working on your business that you'd like to start, or passive income, whatever it may be. But you're so scared of failure that you don't ever even try. And so I urge you to just create rituals. And this is another episode I'm going to do, how I ritualize basically my day. And I have a little bit of depth in the meaning of why I want these habits, right? Because I think that humans work really well of understanding why we want something, or at least connecting some sort of heartfelt, let's say, emotion with a goal. So I'm going to dive into that in one of the next episodes. But for now, just a key reminder that if you truly want not to just achieve, but to build character in this lifetime, there's only one thing, in my personal opinion, that works, and that's consistency. It's a gift that you deserve to give to yourself. You are able to help yourself through it. You are able to support yourself, reach out to others if you need support, and keep showing up, because you will, this is the best part, if you keep showing up for yourself, you will reach your goal at some point. There is no way that you will not, because of consistency. And you know why? Because most people, it's one of the hardest things in the world to actually succeed in. Most people give up. So if you can go one step further and not give up, then you are already in the 1 percentile. And that's all you need to know. So remember, the light that you're constantly seeking outside of yourself is just waiting to be acknowledged within. Thank you for listening. Go ahead and have a beautiful day wherever you are in the world. And I just want to say a quick thank you to everyone who's reached out about the book that I've written. I will be sharing more details soon. And yeah, wishing you a beautiful day. Thanks for being here. See you next week.